By now, I expect you've heard the word tariff so many times it doesn't even sound like a word anymore, just a really annoying noise that you're trying to ignore. However, today I wanted to talk about them in the context of being a digital creator working in a space that does involve physical products. How are tariffs impacting YouTubers? In this video, we've compiled a lot of different examples of creators being impacted by tariffs, and you might want to listen up because this is pretty wide-reaching. But I want to make it really clear that although we are talking about a topic that is inherently political, this is not a political commentary video of any kind. I'm not a political expert. I'm certainly not a tariff expert, despite feeling at this point like I've learned a lot about them in a very short amount of time. I don't care about your politics. I'm not bringing my politics into this either. This is not a political discussion that I want you to have out in the comments. Please be respectful and kind, and let's focus on the YouTube creator aspect of all this. What I am concerned with is how you as creators, like them or not, can prepare for tariffs and how they may or may not impact your channel. First and foremost, we should probably explain what a tariff even is, just to set the stage. You may already know what it is if you clicked on this video, but in case you do feel like you've heard it 1,000 times, or it's just a very boring topic to you, here's some puppies to look at. Now, a tariff is essentially a fee, a tax, that is placed upon certain goods being imported and exported from country to country. So if you live in America and you buy a Star Wars t-shirt that was made in China, there's going to be a tariff placed upon that t-shirt, which makes it more expensive to get it to you. And who pays for this tariff? The Star Wars fan, you. A lot of companies don't really like to absorb that cost. Now, if you're still not too distracted by these puppies, I can get into one of my biggest questions. Why do tariffs even exist in the first place? The reality is tariffs exist for many different reasons. They can help offset prices so domestically produced items remain competitive. They can encourage domestic production of items normally imported from abroad. And they can be used to simply make money or score political points or... Whoa, okay. First of all, I don't know what he's doing. I'm more of a cat guy. Tariffs are already boring and confusing. Let's get back to focusing on how this impacts content creators. As it turns out, tariffs impact us creators in a lot of ways. Hold on one second. I think I'll keep this microphone. Evil video takeover lights, please. Thank you very much. So tariffs are going to impact any niche, despite whether or not you're making videos with physical products. Those are Christmas lights. Tariffs are going to impact everybody who especially is making videos using any kind of physical products. If you review anything, you're probably freaking out a little bit right now. Let's make it clear though that it won't just be the creators behind these channels impacted by the tariffs. It's also going to be their viewing audience. Let's take a look at this example.
I wanted to talk about these tariffs. You can go get yourself a ditch witch. I saw one on eBay, a new one yesterday, $44,900 for the basic SK900 ditch witch. Did you hear me? $44,000 for an American-made ditch witch, or 15 grand for that, and that might be better. So this machine, I've got a mulcher on it, and it's amazing. Love the mulcher. I paid 2 grand for the mulcher. American mulchers, starting at $10,000 for a mulcher on top of your $40,000 machine. So you're starting out at 50 grand plus tax. So you're probably all the other stuff, maybe $60,000 for an American unit, a cheap one. It's a capitalist society. We want to make money. Our businesses want to make money. Well, so do I.
This is Our Life in Trees. Their channel focuses on some really cool landscaping equipment that I would probably never be seen using, mostly because I'm very scared to use it, but I digress. Listen how this creator is concerned with how tariffs will impact their channel.
What I'm saying is, my YouTube channel, this could be the end of it because of tariffs. Can you believe it? Is it possible? Maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm not overthinking it. Maybe you were seeing one of my last videos in the decline of my audience on YouTube.
So Our Life in Trees is just one creator who has legitimate concerns about how tariffs are going to directly impact what they're doing on YouTube.
Hey everybody, time for another treehouse cabin tour, which I am very excited about. I love these tree houses.
But it's not just the impact it's going to have on them, it's the impact it's going to have on the people who are watching the videos and thinking, oh, maybe I should get this equipment for my own landscaping needs.
I've got some awesome machines because they're affordable. I'm not able to buy the American versions.
I feel for this creator because we're always telling people to get really niche on your channel to help grow, right? So their niche happens to be covering lesser known landscaping equipment that is made in China, equipment that you couldn't normally get here. So they picked a great niche, they're growing at a pretty decent pace, and then suddenly everything's coming crashing down.
The tree through the roof comes through the floor of the deck. Pretty cool.
Even if this example feels a little bit outside of what you would normally worry about, maybe you don't buy landscaping equipment or really care about this kind of thing, this is still going to be very widespread amongst any creator who is covering a physical item on their channel and maybe even regularly buying things to review. Another example that might be a little closer to home for you are channels that cover any kind of tabletop games. This article from PC Mag calls the tariffs a hammer blow that's likely to simply kill many fan-favorite publishers. And this article was written back when the tariffs were at 54% on China. I can't even imagine what they're feeling now that we're at 145% at the time of recording this video anyway. But here's how this creator puts it.
It will very much, if these tariffs stay in play, there are a lot of people who will not survive. A lot of companies who will not survive this change to the way board games can possibly be done.
The reason these tariffs spell catastrophe for channels like this one is because these tabletop games are almost impossible to produce here in the US, even if that's what you want to do. If you want to make this stuff in the US, there simply is not the infrastructure or expertise available to do it. This puts independent game publishers in a really tough spot. Do they pass that cost along to their customers, thus lowering the amount of sales they get, or do they absorb the cost of the tariffs themselves and potentially risk closing their own doors? It almost doesn't matter the type of product or the size of the product. If it's manufactured somewhere overseas like China, it is at risk. Let's look at the Pokemon card hobby. I made the mistake of getting into this hobby kind of recently, and let's see how tariffs will impact it if they continue to come and go as they're going right now. The threat of tariffs alone have kind of spooked the Pokemon card enthusiasts. Let's take a look at a channel that actually sells Pokemon cards for a living.
The point is, things affected Pokemon cards. This is a Pokemon channel, and if you are a business in the Pokemon world, this is something you need to think about.
And in case you're thinking of in the comments splitting hairs here, there's actually toy companies debating if they're going to need to start shipping their dolls completely bald. This is because tariffs are making it nearly impossible to ship the necessary goods that domestic toy makers need to create things like doll hair. And yes, pointing out that doll hair costs more dollars is kind of funny, but I'm just also trying to demonstrate this is wide-reaching. These tariffs do mean business, and it almost doesn't matter what industry you're in. This is going to impact you in some kind of way. Let's get into how it could impact digital-only creators. You might be sitting there thinking, I'm a gaming channel. I don't have to worry about any of this. I play games on PC. Even if your channel has nothing to do with physical goods and you're all digital, this could impact you if, say, you want to sell merch. Unfortunately, the revenue you could make from merch is at risk because the materials used to make these items is becoming inherently more expensive. So places like Teespring and Printful can't really take on that cost. That's going to get passed along to your viewers. Or maybe you're thinking, it's kind of time for a new gear upgrade. I could use a new microphone. Well, that's going to be kind of tough if the gear you want is made somewhere else, like China. You might want to hold off on that because shipping that brand new microphone to you is going to be expensive. You could maybe look at domestic sellers selling refurbished microphones, but a lot of people might go that route, increasing the demand and therefore the price for you. This absolutely sucks because creators are already on a tight budget most of the time, and I completely sympathize with not having what you need when you need it just because you want to make a nicer sounding or looking video. But the final point for digital-only creators is that we need to look at tariffs at a more just global human level. This is just one aspect of our highly connected and global economy. Regardless of how the economy itself is doing, how people feel about the economy is really what dictates how they spend their money. When people feel unsure about what's going on, they are less likely to pay for things like a Patreon subscription or a YouTube membership. Big companies might also get a little bit scared and reduce their advertising budget, which means less ad revenue to go around for everybody. That's assuming they don't also have mass layoffs, meaning more people without jobs and who also don't have money to afford things like YouTube memberships, as I mentioned a second ago. Even in a situation where the tariffs aren't too bad, the companies might decide to divert their advertising budgets to larger, more established channels and brands, again, leading to kind of a shift in where the ad dollars go. Even those of us who don't go outside a whole lot or buy a lot of things and just kind of keep their lives mostly digital, are going to be impacted by this one way or another. And again, I'm no tariff expert, but I have heard people say that some tariffs in moderation can be a net positive, which, okay, fine, but that doesn't mean we as YouTubers probably shouldn't prepare a little bit. Whether directly through the increased cost of physical goods or indirectly in ways we haven't even considered yet, being a successful YouTuber means you have to wear a lot of hats, even if those hats are suddenly twice as expensive. So I sympathize with creators who feel like they are struggling a little bit extra right now. And this is a rapidly changing story. By the time this video goes up, I have no idea where the tariffs are actually going to be at, if there even still will be tariffs. But I do hope that for however long you have to deal with this video has been somewhat helpful to you. If it was, maybe leave a like. What I would like you to do now, instead of going to another video, is let me know in the comments ways in which the tariffs are impacting you, or you've seen them impacting other creators that we missed in this video. Or have they changed the way you're thinking about making content? Have they impacted your overall content strategy? Share your story below without getting into political debates, please, and I'll see you in the next one.
I just thought I'd end with a beautiful sunset today. So again, thanks for coming out. Enjoy the sunset. I'm gonna pack up for the day.